Everybody, I'm CJ Lou. Welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. Today we have Kathryn Alice, the author of Love Will Find You. And in the first segment, we were talking about how to actually make dating fun. And this segment, we're going to be talking about releasing a person. A releasing a person workshop. It sounds so awful, but so welcome, Kathryn.
Thank you, CJ. Nice to be with you. It is awful, but it's a needed, unfortunately. And I have to say, we call it my crying workshop because everybody is crying. We stock up on the Kleenex. Because release can be very painful for people, but it is necessary to move on.
Why is it necessary to move on? I mean, why is it why is it necessary to move on? No, I meant is why is it necessary to release another person before you move on to the next one, the next love?
Well, yeah, we get attached. When you're a baby, if you weren't attached to a primary caregiver, you literally would die. And so I think, not consciously, but on some kind of primal level, we fear that we'll die if we let go after a romantic attachment. But if it's not working out, some people will beat a dead horse rather than move on, and it's just creating pain. It's never going to work out. And they're putting their life on hold for somebody, and nobody is worth that.
Yeah. Here's what I loved when I read the chapters in your book about this. And it talks about the question, which I think we all ask ourselves, why do we spend time with Mr. or Mrs. Wrong? And I love the answers that you have in your book. And you said you had karma together that you had to work out. He or she helped you heal. Your ex reflected your childhood wounds. And he or she fathered your child. And the torture of your bad relationship was bound to make your soulmate look extra good in your eyes.
That's right.
My favorite
yeah,
one.
there are many reasons. There are no mistakes in love. And once you're with, it's hindsight, but once you're with the right person, you can see why everything led up to them, and you don't regret anything from your past. So I don't like people regretting things, but you do need to let go.
Yeah. Why is it, and it seems like my girlfriend was with Mr. Wrong for almost 2 years. And I kept on saying, so you've been with this gentleman for a while. Why? And she said, I still feel like I have to learn something. And my question I kept on thinking, well, haven't you learned it already? Or why do you have to still be in it? Haven't you learned it? But do people have to actually be with Mr. or Mrs. Wrong for a while before they get the juice out of that relationship?
Not necessarily, and I have a feeling in that case it sounds like the voice of attachment is telling her, when you're attached, that attachment has a voice, and it tells you things like, you need to be with this person. It'll make any excuse to stay with them. Whether it's, I need to be with them like that to learn something, I need to be with them because there could never be anybody better. Crazy thought. Right. And once you break the attachment, then all of a sudden it's like, what was I thinking? Happened.
Yeah, and so in your book also you talk about the 3 stages to release a person. Can you share with us those stages?
Okay, sure. The first one is just letting go. And I do this with a release ceremony. We do a guided meditation, and we do an outside step to kind of symbolize the letting go. That's number 1, and it's a biggie because most people have to get there where they're willing to let go.
Right, that's the hardest one.
It is. That's the work. So hopefully when people show up to my workshop or get this CD, which is a Releasing a Person CD, they actually are making that decision because they know this cannot go on. I can't stay this miserable. And then number 2 is to turn your attention to your own life after you've let go. And you may have to do little releases if you're thinking of them 1,000 times a day, which is not unheard of, unfortunately. But then number 2 is turning your attention back to your own life and your own mission, your vision for your life. Get back to you. And then the third is to deal with your pain body, because the more wounded you've been, the harder it is to release. And the pain body is all the pent-up emotions for years over different things. I had a guy who had his mom commit suicide when he was 5, and he was the worst case of attachment I've ever seen. And so you can't ignore it. You have to go in and whether it's therapy, deeper work into what has wounded me. I need to heal. So those are the 3 steps. And like you said, the decision to let go is the start.
Yeah. They all sound easy on paper, and they're incredibly hard to do. I mean, they're a spiritual journey in and of themselves, doing any one of those 3 steps, I believe. that are hard.
I don't want to minimize it because it is. It's very hard, and I don't mean to make it sound too light. But that's why we used to see, when I directed a crisis support team, the most suicidal people would come in over this issue. And you could open the newspaper most days of the week and see some headline over somebody who needed to learn to release and didn't. Mm-hmm. People get crazy, and it's worth learning because we're going to have to release our whole lives.
So what happens? How do you know when you finally are released from someone?
Well, I have a test.
Okay.
The ultimate test of whether you've actually let go of romantic attachment is this. If you can see them on a date and you're okay with it. And there are different steps in between. So as long as you're working on releasing, you're probably still open to something better. But that's the big test.
Okay, excellent. I actually think that I was actually in my mind visualizing, like, I'm thinking of all my exes. I see them on a date. I'm like, I'm okay. I guess I've released
You're
them.
okay. Well, you're married. You're happily married.
I am.
You know, I'm 3 or 5.
Yeah.
Me
yeah.
too. And one of the nice things is when you're with the right person, because part of it is looking forward to what's ahead for you. It helps you let go. When you're with the right person and later on you see that love you thought you'd never get over, you cannot believe how lucky you were to end up with who you're with. You're like, oh, thank God I didn't end up with that person. Right?
It's so true, because I was just at a dinner party for a friend's birthday, and I had 2 people that I had dated in this group, and I got home and I said to my husband, I'm so glad I found you. I'm so glad I found you.
Yay! Well, this is an example of what happens.
Yeah, and exactly.
The times are ahead, and so you keep going. So you're a wonderful example for people of how it can turn out if you're willing to let go and move on.
That's absolutely so. And so the next section we're going to be talking about is manifesting your soulmate. And I do believe, not having met you, and I wish I had at that time, I actually did a lot of the things that you suggest in the Manifesting Your Soul. So we'll be talking about that next. Tell us about your CD and how do people get your workshops and your CD?
Okay, well, this is the Releasing a Person CD. I made it after the workshop proved so successful just because people needed it. You were not going to get to me wherever I am. I can't be everywhere.
Right.
And it's the most important product I think we've ever done. So if you go to my website, KathrynAlice.com, KathrynAlice.com, there are free articles on release. You can get the CD and get the help you need to move on. You got a big life waiting.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.